What happens when the narcissist finally loses control over you? When the strings snap and the puppet refuses to dance? If you've lived it, you know the feeling. You walk away from another argument, replaying every word, every accusation, every twist of the knife. You doubt your memory. You doubt your sanity. You even doubt your worth. Because that's the game. Their control is built on your confusion. But here's the truth they'll never admit. Their mask doesn't slip when they're in control. It slips when they lose it. The moment you stop defending yourself, the moment you stop explaining, the moment you stop feeding their story, their shadow breaks through. Not the charm, not the performance, but the fear of someone who cannot survive without control. And that's when everything changes. Stay with me. We're going to break down exactly what happens when the narcissist realizes their grip on you is gone. Because each one of these reactions is more than a tactic. Each one is a mirror of their own shadow, their shame, their terror, their emptiness, projected onto you. And if you've ever wondered why breaking free feels so terrifying and yet so necessary, this video is for you. Because the last behavior we'll cover is the most dangerous of all. Not because it looks violent, but because you won't even recognize it, unless you know what to look for. The first crack always looks like remorse. But look closer. The apology isn't what it seems. When control slips, the first mask they reach for is apology. Tears, pleading, the sudden softness of a voice that once cut you to pieces. I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. I'll change. And for a moment, it feels real. Because deep down, you've wanted those words for so long. You've wanted them to see you, to feel your pain, to finally admit what they've done. But here's the truth. It's not remorse. It's panic. They're not sorry for harming you. They're sorry they've been exposed. They're sorry their tactics aren't working anymore. They're sorry the supply of control and validation they fed on is slipping away. Listen closely, and you'll hear the cracks in the words. I'm sorry, but you know how anxious I get. I'm sorry, but you shouldn't have pushed me. I'm sorry, but you've hurt me too. That but is the mask. The apology isn't an admission, it's camouflage. It's bait to pull you back into the cycle. It's the illusion of accountability designed to re-hook your empathy so they can reset the game. And here's where the psychology cuts deeper. Carl Jung once wrote that the shadow is never destroyed, it is only denied. The narcissist's apology is not them facing their shadow, it is them disguising it. The sorry is not a bridge to truth, it is a mask painted over shame. And each time you accept it, you are asked to carry the weight of what they cannot face in themselves. And if apology fails, if camouflage no longer works, they don't stop. They reach for something darker. Not softness, not sorrow, but distortion. Because if they can't control you with guilt, they'll try to control you with reality itself. If the apology doesn't work, the mask doesn't soften, it hardens. Because a narcissist cannot admit truth. To admit truth would mean facing their own shadow, and that is the one thing they cannot bear. So instead, they distort it. They'll deny saying things you remember clearly. They'll insist entire conversations never happened. They'll take your words, twist them, and repeat them back until you're not sure who said what anymore. They'll drag up mistakes from years ago, irrelevant but weaponized, so the spotlight swings back onto you. And if you've lived this, you know the aftermath. You leave the argument not relieved, but hollow, your chest tight, your head spinning, whispering to yourself, "Am I going crazy? Did I really make that up? Maybe I am the problem." That's the cruelty of gaslighting. It doesn't just win the argument, it steals your ability to trust yourself. The more you fight to be understood, the more you feel yourself dissolving inside their story. Psychologically, this is projection. They take the shame, the flaws, the selfishness they cannot admit in themselves, and they place it in your hands. And because you care, because you want to be good, you carry it as if it were yours. Carl Jung warned that projection blinds us. He said that what we refuse to see in ourselves, we meet in the world as fate. For the narcissist, that fate is you. You become the mirror that holds the pieces of their shadow while they stand back and deny it all. And here's the trap. Every time you try to prove them wrong, you're already caught. Because defense is surrender. You're not fighting for truth anymore. You're fighting inside an illusion they built to keep you small. But bending reality inside your head isn't always enough. So they turn outward, rewriting reality for everyone around you. And suddenly, the smear campaign begins. They'll call your friends or family, their voice dripping with concern. "I'm so worried about them. They've been acting strange. I don't know what's going on." To your face, they may say nothing, but behind your back, they plant seeds of doubt. And slowly, you notice the shift. Friends who used to believe you now hesitate. Family who once comforted you now suggest you might be too sensitive, too unstable, too unfair. Your own circle becomes a jury, and you are already on trial. You've felt this. You know the sickening loneliness of it. It's not just being isolated. It's being rewritten in the eyes of the people who matter to you. You want to scream, "That's not me. That's not what happened." But every word you speak risks sounding like more evidence against you. This is the strategy. Turn your allies into spies, your support system into silent doubters. Flying monkeys, circling around you, reporting back. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. And in a way, it feels mythic, like Medusa's gaze, freezing those around you into stone statues trapped in her story. You're not just fighting for your own truth anymore. You're fighting for your very image in the world. Philosophically, this is another face of the shadow. Jung wrote that the parts of ourselves we cannot own will be projected outward. The narcissist cannot hold their own emptiness, so they twist your image to carry it for them. Their survival depends on controlling not just who they are, but who you are allowed to be. And when even that doesn't keep you in line, the mask tears open. And what comes through is not charm, not concern, not control, but rage. It's the narcissist's last attempt to remind you they still matter. The vindictiveness seems to come from nowhere. Explosions over nothing. Property smashed. Threats whispered. Rumors spread like poison. Support withheld. Opportunities sabotaged. Anything to remind you that you are never truly safe from them. You've experienced this. You know the violence isn't always physical, but it is always punishing. The message is clear. How dare you see through me? How dare you pull away? How dare you refuse to play my game? And yet, here's the paradox. Their fury is not a sign of your failure. It's a sign of your freedom. Because rage only erupts when control is gone. This is where the God complex collapses. The figure who once acted untouchable, all-knowing, God-like in their certainty, crumbles into a tantrum. Beneath the roar is the wounded child, consumed by terror at being exposed, abandoned, powerless. The one thing they cannot survive is being seen without their mask, and that is why the retaliation feels so feral. You are not witnessing strength, you are witnessing collapse. But sometimes, rage isn't the final move. Sometimes it burns out, only to be replaced by something far more dangerous, something that doesn't look like hatred at all, something that looks like love, but feels like obligation. When rage fails, when even destruction cannot pull you back, they reach for their last weapon. Not fury, not control, but pity. They'll play sick, helpless, or broken. I can't live without you. You're all I have. I'll change this time, I swear. They'll become the victim in their own story, weaving guilt and obligation into chains you can't see. You know the confusion of it. That's why you're still here, watching. One day they're punishing you with silence or rage. The next, they're weeping in your arms, promising a future that never arrives. And against your better judgment, something in you softens. Because you remember the glimpses of tenderness, the highs that felt so intoxicating. This is the trap, the cycle of pain and relief that forges trauma bonds. It feels like connection, but it's captivity dressed as devotion. It feels like love, but it's dependency, engineered to make escape feel impossible. Psychologically, trauma bonding is a cruel alchemy. Your nervous system begins to confuse chaos with intimacy. The very person who wounds you becomes the one you long for, because only they can deliver the brief relief from the pain they created. It's the emotional equivalent of poison followed by antidote, and over time, you become addicted to both. Carl Jung might call this an archetypal possession, the self shackled by forces masquerading as love. The narcissist cannot offer wholeness, only chains, and those chains tighten every time you mistake pity for care, dependency for devotion. And yet here's the deeper truth. Their attempt to keep you bound is not proof of your weakness. It's proof of your importance. They would not fight so hard to hold you if you weren't already slipping free. So the question becomes, how do you break the spell? How do you see through every mask, every tactic, every trap, and reclaim yourself when every move they make is designed to pull you back in? The apology that wasn't real, the distortions, the smears, the rage, the desperate bonds, these are not signs of your failure. They are signs of a mask disintegrating, of a person who cannot exist without control, watching that control slip through their hands. And here's the liberating truth. Every time you refuse their game, you're not just resisting them, you're reclaiming yourself. Carl Jung wrote that individuation is the process of stepping out of the shadow and becoming whole. That is what you are doing when you refuse to carry what was never yours. You are stepping out of their projection, out of their false reality, out of the chains of dependency. and into your own life. Their loss of control is not your ending, it is your beginning. The moment they can no longer script your reality, you are free to write your own. So here's what I want you to do. Write this in the comments so it sinks deeper into you. I refuse to carry what was never mine. Let that be your declaration, because what their loss of control really reveals is not just their emptiness, but your strength, and that's where we'll end, with the deeper truth about what their collapse says about you. So let's bring it all together. All of it, every tactic, is not love. It is survival. The frantic moves of a mask that cannot survive without control. And here's the truth you need to hold on to. Every time they lose control, you take one step closer to yourself. Every time their tactics fail, it is proof that you are stronger than the illusion they tried to keep you in. Control was never love. Manipulation was never truth. The end of their power is the start of your freedom. But these are only the obvious moves. The most dangerous tactics are the hidden ones, the ones nobody names. That's what we'll uncover in part 2. So I'll leave you with this. Which reaction have you seen the most? Was it the apology, the smear, the rage, or the desperate pull of the trauma bond? Share it below, because your story will help someone else feel less alone in theirs. And remember this mantra, carry it with you. Their shadow is not your destiny.